What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Norm podcast. I'm your host, Z, and today we have a very exciting topic to cover, which is for those of you who want to study abroad as international students, how do you avoid the minimum wage job trap? And how do you maximize on your career opportunities so that you can actually advance your career in the long term? For those of you who's joining this podcast for the first time ever, hey, I'm really excited for you because in this podcast, which I named Beyond the Norm, we go beyond the norm of what ordinary people try to do in their daily lives. Look, if you really wonder, what are the things that make the top most successful people successful? There's not going to be a lot of answers that you could potentially find on the internet. What did they do? What was that secret ingredient that led these top wealthy billionaires stand out among 7 billion people? Why is there less than 1,000 billionaires in this entire world with so many people? What does it really take to stand out and become ultra mega successful? That's exactly what we cover in this podcast. Hey, look, I'm someone who's going to become a billionaire. I believe that with my heart. My actions say that. I work hard literally all day till I figure out smart ways to do the same thing and make more money out of it. Okay? Anybody can work hard, but when you work hard with a big vision, with enough discipline, and really make smart moves over time from your earned experience or learned experience, you become successful. The reason some people don't become successful even after they work really hard is because they didn't even start off with big vision in the first place. So in this channel, as I discover or I explore my life, and I go out in the wild and learn new things for my own quest to become a billionaire, I share my experiences with you so you can apply those strategies in your life. Plus, I study a lot of successful people and I try to apply that in my life. And obviously, after I learn those strategies from them, I come and share those strategies with you on this podcast. So thank you again for joining Beyond the Norm with me. I hope the next 30 minutes you get a ton of value from this podcast. So again, coming back to, for those of you who want to study abroad, look, ultimately, the reason you should be moving abroad and the only reason you should be moving abroad is to become successful. Not to just study, not to just get a graduation certificate, not to go work at a McDonald's or a Subway and flip burgers or make sandwiches for people. The reason your parents are spending so much money for you, or maybe you're sponsoring yourself, right? Why would you be spending so much money? To get a better life, to be proud of yourself, to make your family proud of you, to make your country proud of you and represent your country in the best way possible. However, in order to do that, you cannot approach life with a conservative mindset, which unfortunately, a lot of international students unconsciously do. And that is not their fault. It's because of the losers that actually went abroad and settled for less than what they desired, and they started preaching mediocrity to people and get them to settle for the same. Okay? By that I mean you will see some YouTubers and you will see some people who actually move abroad and tell you that there's no other way for international students to make money other than odd jobs. I will tell you, this is complete, utter crap. Okay? You can, as an international student, get amazing jobs. Okay? You don't have to settle for minimum wage jobs. I get hated so much online for telling people that you don't have to always work minimum wage jobs. Guys, look, if there is the possibility for you to not work minimum wage jobs, like listen at how stupid it sounds. The word minimum is in the word minimum wage job. Why would you spend so much money to settle for something minimum? Why not aim for something that's maximum? I know it's easy for me to say that, but why can you not put your mindset into achieving something bigger for yourself? That's something that I just can't fathom when I get this hate comments from people online. It's like, why can I not expect the best for myself? What's wrong with it? There's no immigration document of Canada that says you have to work for minimum wage jobs as an international student. Nowhere. So why'd you settle for that? Look, guys, I take huge pride in setting myself up as a successful international student. I never had to work minimum wage jobs. I always worked with big multinational companies as an international student in Canada while being a student. I didn't even have to graduate. I owned businesses before graduation. I worked with campus facilities. I was all over campus making way more money than any international student can. Okay, I did that. I'm the prototype for that. And I've proven this model that it works, and so it will for you. Now, my job, I know with my YouTube videos and the videos I post on Facebook, it's not as easy to go into descriptive mode as to what did I really do. So in this podcast, I'm going to share with you the exact blueprint. If I were to become an international student, I would do exactly these so that I don't have to work minimum wage jobs and I can make a lot of money. Now, I do want to say one thing. It's not like I hate minimum wage jobs. The thing I hate is people settling for minimum wage jobs and thinking that that's their only way. There's no disrespect towards minimum wage jobs. However, I'm disgusted by this mentality of people that I have to flip burgers at McDonald's and I cannot do anything else. There's no more potential in me. I just can't accept that from people because everybody's gifted, everybody's super talented, and you shouldn't be settling for less. However, there is this time that it takes to land professional jobs, maybe 3 to 4 months. And I understand that not a lot of international students come from privileged backgrounds. Yes, I had this cushion of comfort that when maybe I was not getting a professional job, so which was 4 to 5 months or 6 months, yes, I had my parents who were supporting me. I had great income to back me up. I understand that for some of you, you don't have that opportunity. But the thing that you can't do, it's okay for you to get a minimum wage job for those couple of months, but don't treat that as your normal state. You have to carve out enough time to keep on pushing for professional jobs. The biggest mistake that international students make is that they get these odd jobs and they don't have enough time left anymore to go look for professional jobs. And they get stuck in this cycle that they can't get out. Because if you don't have professional experience, you're not gonna end up with professional jobs. It's gonna be a bit harder for you. It's not gonna be as easy. It's not like it's impossible. You will be able to land professional jobs, but it will be extremely hard for you. You're not gonna be able to network with people because you're just constantly stuck with living paycheck to paycheck because you gotta work to support your living. The biggest mistake also international students make is that as soon as they get odd jobs, they start buying these cars, they start moving up their expenses and elevating their living expenses. You shouldn't be doing that. Get yourself a minimum wage job to survive. It's important for you to put your ego aside and really learn the skill of survival. But as soon as you have your odd job, use them to pay the essential expenses, but then make sure you have enough time left to go network, to save some money so that you can actually quit your odd job and you have more time to actually go after professional jobs because it takes time. All right. So today I'm going to tell you and give you the exact blueprint that you can use to become successful. I can guarantee if you follow these step by step to the T, you will maximize your career opportunities as an international student. And I'm the living proof of that. I have not seen any international student become as successful as I have while being a student. The amount of stuff that I have done, look at all the things that I can tell you. I work with Ottawa Tourism, which is the tourism, obviously official body of Ottawa. I work with big companies like North City Canada. I was the first influencer ever in the history of Canada to have worked with higher education institutions. I started 2 businesses while being an international student. I shot at music festivals. I shot at every single campus events that happened. I made the most viral videos of my campus. I worked with almost every single department on campus. I was my residence coordinator. I was the community life service photographer. I was the vice president of the photography club. I was the multimedia coordinator of my news publishing department of my university. There's tons of stuff I did as an international student. Okay, I was even the photographer and the best videographer of all the nightclubs in my city. Each night I would have made $400 to $600 just by working 1 hour, guys. Imagine how much work you would have to do to make $600 with a minimum wage job. I was doing that one night, and every weekend there were 2 nights and we'd be shooting at all clubs of Ottawa. That's who I am, and that's why you should listen to me and not the people online who are telling you to settle for less. I even forgot to mention, I was the account manager at one of the largest recruiting companies in the world called Hayes in my second year as an international student. So are you gonna listen to someone who's still flipping burgers, who haven't achieved their maximum potential as an international student, or someone who has done it and is telling you you could do the same? So without further ado, let's get into what is the very first thing that you can do as an international student to master the process of career development. The very first thing you need to do is, number 1, get better at communication. I know it sounds very simple. Obviously, I'm going to advance these things in the next couple of steps. I'm going to give you some really technical information. But the very first thing, guys, you need to improve on is your communication. For those of you who cannot speak proper English, for those of you who cannot make eye contact with a person when you're talking to them, for those of you who cannot speak to random strangers on the streets, you guys are in serious trouble. You need to learn the skills of communicating, understanding what the other person is saying, and also making your point understood to the other person, getting across your point. So many international students, they cannot speak to strangers. All their life, they have stuck in their little bubbles with their friends, and when they move abroad, they cannot make friends anymore, maybe from different communities and different cultures or countries, but they end up only looking for people in their communities because that makes them comfortable. This is a big no-go, because for you to make friends, for you to build your network, people have to like you to tell you that, hey, you know what? You should hear about this opportunity. That's the ugly truth. If you're a nerd, unfortunately, you don't have a lot of friends in your class. If you're a boring person, you don't have a lot of friends in your class. If you're a very boring person, you don't even have friends in real life. That's the truth. So you guys got to get more interesting. Be someone who's fun to be around. If you're someone who's fun to be around, other people will surround themselves around you. Okay? So the best way you could actually improve your communication, the way I improve my English skills, my enunciation, my way of presenting, is actually by watching a lot of celebrity talk shows. Because a celebrity is the most polished person you can actually find out there. So when I used to watch Jimmy Kimmel, when I used to watch shows like Jimmy Fallon, or I think there is James Corden, you see the celebrities coming in and the way they present, they're supposed to be polished. They're supposed to be real presenters. So when you try to imitate them and learn from them, you actually learn from the best. So go watch celebrity talk shows. First of all, it will improve your body language, the way you talk, the way you pronounce your word, and the way you put on a smile when you're talking. That will help you a lot. And obviously, you need to take some English classes or take some IELTS classes, which should be able to improve your English. And also, don't just learn English, speak it. My father knows a lot of English, but he cannot even speak a sentence of English. So don't be the person who knows everything about English but can't say a word in English. It's better that for you to not know enough about English, but to be able to at least speak English, okay? Because at the end of the day, if you really think about it, French people, Italian people, they don't speak proper English. However, they still are able to get their point communicated to other people, right? So all you have to do is be able to communicate properly, present yourself nicely, dress nice, make that positive impression, and obviously improve your English. So that's the first thing you gotta improve on, is communication. If you're not smart, if you're not fun to be around, people are not gonna be around you, and they're gonna kind of repel and push you away. This is why a lot of international students cannot approach job opportunities. So for those of you who are still hanging out with your dumb friends and you're not getting anything out of it, cut them off, go learn new things, go talk to strangers on the streets, and learn how to maintain conversations with people that you know nothing about. Okay, learn how to ask good questions to maintain a conversation. Number 2, you have to be good at something. People will not network with you if there is nothing they can get out of you. For people, you see, you want to network with other people because they have something that you don't have, or they have something that you want to get. Other people want to network with you if you have something to give. If you don't have something to give, if you're not good at something, if you don't have something special about you, if you don't have any special skills, if you don't have any expertise or knowledge in certain areas, people have nothing to get from you. At the end of the day, even if you're the most awesome person and fun person to be around, when it comes to career development, people are just going to go to other resourceful people. So you have to be extremely resourceful. And the only way to do this is by being really good at something. Maybe you become really good at videography. Maybe you're a really good engineer. Maybe you're a good job hunter, or maybe you're an expert in your subject area that you want to study. Maybe you're a freaking car expert, or I don't know, but be good at something that you can help other people with. You could be even just good at knowing other people, and other people will want to network with you because they will be able to milk out those connections from you. You gotta have something. So many people go out networking without knowing what they have to give, and also without knowing what they need to get from people. Don't be the networker that is just networking just for the sake of. Unless you have something to give and get, don't go network. It's pointless. So use that time rather to become really good at something. For example, I don't need to go out and network in the influencer community. I don't need to get anything from people. I just want to be the best content creator, and other people will want to network with me and I have the upper hand. I don't need to freaking spend time with people, dragging around people's asses just to get their time. If I'm the best at something, other people will want to get my time. That's the way I see it. So you have to be really good at something, and once you get really good at something, then go all out telling people about it. That's the second thing. So get really good at something. International students don't spend any time on their personal growth, their self-development. They never take up a course on digital marketing, or maybe SEO, or maybe designing, maybe building up a website, maybe programming. There are hundreds of things that you can build your skills on. So go spend time on your personal development. Stop talking about dumb stuff with your friends that doesn't add any value to your life. Literally, if you see that your friends don't add any value to your life, just cut them off. Number 3. Let's say now, once you move to Canada, what is the very first point of influence that you're going to have? Your residence and your classroom. So when you walk into your residence, and by the way, I recommend every international student to stay on campus. When you walk into your residence, literally become good friends with the receptionist. They know all the ins and outs of residence. Here's what actually happened to me when I moved into my residence. There were advisors, I forgot their name, but I think it was residence advisors, yes, RAs. So these people were actually hired by the university to help students move in and make sure that once we moved in, we were taken well care of. Those residence advisors, residents were actually paid for. And if they were not paid for, which means your residence is almost free, if you do the math on that, that's $12,000 already paid for, which means you already earned, right? If you do that, that's one way. However, sometimes some universities don't actually pay their residence advisors through residences, but they actually pay them a fee. There are volunteers, which are residence coordinators or whatever, but then there's residence advisors who actually get paid. You could either be paid with checks, like real money, or you could be paid through just by compensating for your residence. So either way, you're making money already. Obviously, you're not making money from day one, but when you start becoming friends with these people who know other people, and you tell them that, hey, look, I'm really good at communicating, and I'm really good at caring for others, and I would love to get involved in these opportunities, you can start making connections. And already, if you're a good person, if they love your personality, and if you make a good impression, they will absolutely hire you. Again, you have to be good at communicating. Plus, if you're going to your classroom, every faculty, so for example, if you're going to engineering, you need to get involved. Forget about the money even. At first, you need to just get involved. And getting involved means being friends with people who hold the position of power. So that receptionist has power over you. They're not a first-year student. They got opportunities handed to them. They know how to do this already. Same thing for your faculty. Every department has an association. And within those associations, 10 people are usually appointed. And those 10 people have hundreds of connections around university, especially with professors, deans, and everybody. When you become friends with these people, you get to learn about who's who, what departments are what, and you start meeting new people. And again, if your communication is great, you start making great impressions. And when they know that you're really good at something, they're gonna start offering you opportunities, and you just need to tell them that you are looking. This whole process may take 3 to 4 months, but still, when you get your foot in the doors just open up, one door after another. Okay, so that's the first place that I will actually go, is residence. All right. Number 2 is join student clubs and associations. Student clubs are actually bodies within the university or college. These are basically groups of people who have formed these associations who share the same passion. So for example, there could be a photography club association, there could be a cultural association for your country, there could be an association of hikers or maybe bicyclists or whatever. There will be probably hundreds of clubs and associations. There are dance clubs as well. These are great places for you to make friends. Sometimes your friends might even know other people who can send job opportunities your way. And I'm coming to this, how this has worked out perfectly for me. So when you go approach these student clubs and associations and sign up with them, there are precedents of these associations that know other departments. So to give you an example, I was extremely passionate about photography, and I joined the photography club of my university. At that time, I used to go to University of Ottawa. Within my first year, obviously, I was simply a volunteer. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Z, did you actually have to buy a camera? Absolutely not, guys. You don't have to. There are very kind people, good people in those clubs who will happily lend you their camera. Even if they don't, I actually did get a hate comment about this one day. I told people that, hey, look, you can literally just go, if you're good at photography or videography, go to your community club service or the department that takes care of all the events and go offer your photography services. Everybody hated on me saying that, oh, you come from a privileged background, you had the money to buy the camera. Guys, I didn't have a camera. I borrowed the camera from the university. Your university can actually loan you equipment. You don't even need a laptop. Your university can borrow it from your university. So I borrowed cameras from my university until I made enough money to go buy my own camera. That's how I did it. It's all about figuring out smart ways. And the more you get involved, the more you become aware of what's available on campus. To give you an example, when I was a video editor, I didn't have a nice MacBook or a iMac. I had a shitty laptop. So what did I do? I had a friend who was in the communications department, and they actually had this lab which used to have all iMacs. Because they were in the communication department, I was in the engineering department, but because I was friends with them, they had passwords to the labs, and I would just go into the labs and have access to all the iMacs and used to use their password because they were my friends. I used to use their account to edit my videos. These are the hacks that you can use to get ahead. So many international students don't know these hacks because they just hang out with their own people, the losers that have settled for the fact that they cannot make friends either. So don't be that, or don't get in that group, okay? When you see people of the same community just hanging out every single day, run away from those groups, because those are the losers of your university from your own community. Stay away from them, okay? Make friends from every faculty, make friends from all cultures, make friends from all countries. This will broaden your perspectives, make you learn a lot, and even shoot some unique opportunities your way like it did for me. So coming back to the photography club conversation, where I signed up for a photography club. I showed up to a few events with them, and I made good friends there. The next year, the photography club president said, hey Z, why don't you become the photography club vice president for next year? And the next thing I know, I became the photography club vice president for next year. And because I was in that post, I was able to get in and make connections with the news media department, the publishing department of my university. And the next thing I know, I had a paid job as a multimedia coordinator, which paid me $1,000 a month for spending only 1 hour at the office and take a few photos for the people who were writing the columns. That's called smart ways to make money. I was making $6,000 per month within my second year at my university, all because I figured out smart ways to get out there and show people that I'm really good at something. Okay, so get involved with student clubs and associations. The number three, Number three, show up to every event that's happening on campus. Get involved. That's the underlying principle. When you show up to every single event on campus of every single department, you will become aware of who is in the position of power, who is in charge of everything that's happening on campus, and you start being friends with them. If you think you can add value to what they do, maybe you're a great person at organizing events, maybe you're good at emailing, maybe you're good at taking care of administrative stuff, maybe you're good at handling sponsorships or putting together the logistics. You might be good at something. Figure out, notice what you can do, where you can add value, and start approaching those. Maybe you have to volunteer for 1 time, 2 times, but the 3rd time, if you're really good at something, they're gonna start paying you. Okay, I remember that because I was friends with this one person who was friends with someone who used to work for a government organization. They used to host big government events in Ottawa. He told me, hey Z, why don't you just go in and take photos for this guy and show him how good you are at taking photos. So I did. I went in, I took some photos for their event, and the next event I was hired for $1,200 for 1 hour per event, and they used to have 5 to 6 events probably every 2 or 3 months, and I was making lots of money doing that. Okay, so be friends with anybody, okay? But you have to be amazing at communication. You have to be good at something and know what you can truly do. You don't have to choose the photography path. Maybe you're really good at coding. Maybe you're good at building apps. Maybe you're really good at training people. Maybe you're very athletic and sporty. Maybe you're a very good sports person. Maybe you're a great tennis player. But if you're good at something, you can make money from it regardless of wherever you are, okay? Now, so if you show up to every event on campus, okay, go meet the people. Also, let me tell you how I got my first professional job in Canada. Even though I was an engineering student, I used to show up in every single event of every faculty that was happening on campus. So the very first thing I did during my second year, there was this business elevator pitch event happening where business faculty students were coming in and pitching their business ideas. In that event, I met this super motivated guy who was actually working for another company, and he was like, hey Z, I'm just here to source talent, but you seem like an interesting guy because of my communication skills. And he was like, you know what? We're having another event from my company. Why don't you come show up to that event? You're going to learn something new. Well, guess what, guys? I show up to that event of another company, and this is how you make connections. I show up in that event, which had nothing to do with what I'm interested about. I sit next to this another person next to me. He was working for this one credit card company, and I was like, hey man, so what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, yeah, I work for a credit card company. I sell credit cards. It's like, dude, I'm looking for a job. If you could refer me to your employer. And he's like, you know what? I might actually. And the next day he did refer me to his employer. And the next day I got a call and his employer actually liked me. And 5 days later I was hired and I made $12,000 within 5 months with that job. Okay, so again, show up at every single event on campus. Maybe I even made more than that. Like within just 5 months, I probably made way more than that. I was one of the top sales representatives. I think I was the second highest sales earner within the company, within my region, which was Ontario, for that credit card company. So again, I did love that opportunity. That was one of the best opportunities, even elevated my career further in sales, which helped me land more jobs after. Okay, so show up to every single event on campus. Another thing that you can do is every universities have big bulletin boards in their hallways. Go check out the bulletin boards. There are always career opportunities listed on them. The way I got to shoot some of the biggest music festivals in Ottawa was actually I came across this job opportunity on a bulletin board that said, hey, we're looking for videographers for just a book publishing event. And I emailed the person's contact information and they said, yeah, I'm trying to shoot a book promo. Then I meet her, and the next thing I know, she is actually in charge of all the events that happens in Ottawa. And the next thing I know, that I was shooting in music festivals like Escapade Music Festivals, RBC World Blues Fest, where you have people like 50 Cent coming in, Martin Garrix, Steve Aoki. I got to take photos with them and all that stuff. It was really fun. It was one of the most memorable events of my life, and I made lots of money doing these things. Okay, so number, I think 4 now, show up to job fairs happening on campus and off campus. What you can do is obviously just go to the events page of your university. If you really want to know what kind of events are happening, simply go on your events page of the university, and you're going to see all the events happening plus any job fairs that happens. Plus, sometimes keep an eye out on the emails of your professors, because they're going to share those job opportunities with you in the form of posts itself or career fairs. Plus, if you want to know what kind of job fairs are happening in your city, you can literally go to Eventbrite and look up all the job fairs that are happening. It doesn't matter even if you pay $20 for those events, because still you get to make connections. All right, so again, go show up to all the events that happens on campus and also in the city related to your field or outside of the field. It doesn't matter. Show up, because you never know which friend might be the biggest connection for your career. Okay, number 5 now, go to your institution's career development center. I hate to see how many students ignore this opportunity. Your career development center is literally the hub at your university who holds all the connections to your employers. All right, you go up to them if you need help with your resume, if you need help with your cover letter. They're gonna help you for free. They can train you for interviews for free. They can give you referrals for free. They're there to help you land jobs and maximize on your career opportunities. So if you're moving abroad as an international student, make sure that you check out the Career Development Center and follow up with them, because they have lots of connections and they can help you advance your career. And number 6, reach out to people on LinkedIn. Okay, this is another great way. The way you should do this is that you simply go on the search field of LinkedIn, type in the area of study in your field, and you're gonna get a bunch of people show up that are studying in that field, or probably graduates, or are currently working in that field, and start connecting with them. Set up coffee meetings. If you don't know what kind of things to write, simply just Google, what can I write for a coffee chat introduction? Just go copy paste it, customize it a little bit, and you're gonna, if you message probably 20 to 30 people, you're still gonna get 5 or 6 responses, and that's still a lot. And when you speak to these people who are ahead of you, they can give you their knowledge as to what you can do now to advance your career. What kind of specific skill sets can you build or work on for you to advance your career further? A great tip for this is sometimes just go on LinkedIn, look up the job posts that you feel extremely passionate about, that you want to work in the long term, and simply go in their skills required or the requirements for the job, and already start building on those skills in your downtime. This will set you ahead of literally 90% of your classmates. This is the biggest hack that I can recommend to any international student. So that being said, I hope this has been a very helpful video or podcast for you guys as to how you can develop your career as an international student. Guys, I'm telling you, the first 3 to 4 months is going to be challenging. It will probably take you approaching 20 to 30 jobs just to even land 2 to 5. But trust me, if you really work on your communication and you become really good at something, and you do the rest of the stuff that I just told you, within 5 to 6 months, you're gonna land amazing opportunities that's gonna pay you way more than what a minimum wage job is gonna pay you. And I like to say, let your skills pay you instead of your time, because everybody's got time. Not everybody has skills, okay? That being said, you're listening to Beyond the Norm podcast. I hope this added a ton of value to your journey as an international student. Hope you come back for the next one, because we're gonna keep on covering very exciting topics where not only I discover strategies on how to be mega successful, but I'm gonna learn from other mega successful people and come back to you and just give it all away. That's all about it. Thank you for showing love. Thank you for joining and listening to this over the past 1 hour probably, or maybe half an hour. That being said, see you guys in the next episode, and thank you again for joining Beyond the Norm.